What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about the top 5 short squeeze stocks that you need to add to your watch list going into this upcoming week. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with stock number 5, not in any particular order though, ticker's ATNF. Over the last 5 days, up 107.51%. So in case you are new to the channel, a lot of the stocks that I do like to select have some good pre-existing momentum in the short term, and in many cases shorts are overextended, so kind of a good recipe for price appreciation or either a squeeze. This is what they do on a side note. So company profile, biotech based out of the States. Seasonality, July goes up roughly around 1.7% over the last 7 years on average, and then August and whatever else, so feel free if that floats your boat to pause it. But essentially 14.84% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 254.47 thousand shares overall are being shorted. So this is exactly what the market does like to squeeze, somewhat heavily shorted and low float. So that's again something to keep in mind. But cost to borrow average is 17.77. That is a annual rate, not a daily rate. Short score, higher the number, the higher likelihood of a squeeze happening, is sitting at 71.99. Through IBKR does indicate roughly around 25,000 shares is available to be shorted. And the reason why I bring that up is because if you see some stocks that have limited supply, you could see some buying coming from big players such as BlackRock, Vanguard, as they will buy stock just to lend out. And just for clarity, they are not the ones shorting, they are the ones buying and then lending it out. So there is a difference between the two. So I think in the past some people have not really understood that. So BlackRock buying, for instance, as an example, does not mean they are shorting. But this, with it being 25,000, you could see some buying going into this upcoming week as institutions will be lending that out. But nonetheless, moving on to the fourth stock, ticker is WINT, sitting at $1.19. Over the last 1 year though, down 99.35, so not all that great, but over the last 5 days, up 35.66. A lot of abnormal volume, so institutions are clearly paying attention to it. A lot of good information on a side note right here, such as the 52-week range and everything, market cap, volume. So if that again floats your boat, feel free to kind of pause it. Seasonality, 9.9% over the last 10 years on average. Of course, I think 2024 does skew it because it went up 184.1%. So kind of goes to show what could potentially happen as well this time around. This is the company profile, so biotech based out of the States, but 43.28% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 1.58 million shares. Cost to borrow average, again, it's an annual rate, not a daily rate, is sitting at 389%. So pretty good stuff for that. Short score is 80.86, and then through IBKR does indicate 100,000 shares is available to be shorted. So most likely this upcoming week you could see some buying, as obviously institutions will love to take advantage of that juicy cost to borrow, 295%, and that one is through IBKR for an example. So this is another stock to add to your watch list. Moving on, this stock is and has been heavily shorted for a very long time. It's never actually made this list because the stock price has always largely lagged, but Lucid sitting at 304. Over the last 1 year, down 14.85%, but over the last 5 days, up 34.22. So a lot of volume, definitely gaining a lot of good traction. This is what they do. I'm pretty sure everyone kind of knows it at this stage. So this is the company profile. Seasonality, in July, it does go up roughly 8.5% on average. So doing pretty good for that. And in case you are curious, this is the level of volume that I'm talking on. So on the 18th, there was 294 million shares. On the 17th, 940 million. So a lot of big money is definitely getting in. When it comes to shorts, though, they've been pretty much ingrained in Lucid for the last several years. So 31.4% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 387.13 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts have been in and out of Lucid, but still always adding a certain level of suppression. So like I said at the beginning, somewhat overextended. and I think kind of extreme in Lucid's case, but cost to borrow is 11.8. Even on Friday, shorts did return 3.46 million shares. DTC, higher the number, the higher the magnitude of a potential squeeze. And so that factors in the average volume that Lucid does get versus the number of shares being shorted. Short score is 79.07, and then through IBKR does indicate 3 million shares is available to be shorted. So this is actually a good example of big money buying it, because it does, at one point there was 50,000 shares available to be shorted, and so available shares, and it automatically just jumps up to 950. So some institution did buy just for the purposes of lending out. So that's kind of a good example, and even more so, it jumped from 1.1 to 3.1. But aside from that, this is stock number 3 to add to your watch list. Moving on to the fourth stock, ticker is CELU, sitting at 303. Just on Friday alone, it went up 37.73%. Over the last 1 year, it's pretty much flat, and then over the last 5 days up 35.27. And this is actually what I would prefer to see in a stock: nice, slow, appreciated growth rather than a quick spike up, in my opinion, of course. But aside from that though, this is a seasonality, so July does go down on average 9.7 over the last 5 days, or 5 years, sorry. This is the company profile, biotech, based out of the States, but 16.27% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 1.9 million shares. Fairly high cost to borrow, so the average is 356.89. Short score is 97.52, so this is extremely high. DTC 8.96, so shorts have massively doubled down with this stock. Even as an example, roughly in February, short interest was 1.7. So they have massively doubled down, kind of returned, doubled down. So they're trying their very best to kind of suppress it at all costs. Through IBKR though, it does indicate 4,000 shares is available to be shorted. So most likely you will be seeing some buying from institutions this upcoming week. So this is another one to add to your watch list. And then moving on to stock number 1, ticker is VLCN, sitting at 1711. On Friday, it did go down a little bit, 20.82, and then over the last 1 year, not doing all that great, down 91.51, but over the last 5 days, up 113%, and that's factoring in the 20% pullback. So still doing relatively good in my opinion. Seasonality, July does go down about 15.8% over the last 3 years on average, so not all that great. August does go up 7.6, so keep that in mind. This is a company profile, so based out of Rockwood, Texas in the States, but 13.41% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 73,000 shares. So again, this is exactly what the market does like to squeeze, somewhat heavily shorted, low float. Cost to borrow average is 422, the max is 980, so very interesting for that. Shorts have massively been doubling down as well. So we went from, looks as like 1%. So July the 10th, short interest was 1%, and now it's at 13. So shorts have massively been doubling down, trying to suppress it at all costs. Short score is 76.94, and then through IBKR does indicate 9,000 shares is available to be shorted. So in a lot of the cases, you could be seeing some buying from big institutions, as they will just like to buy it just to lend out. So these all these stocks, in my opinion, have the good opportunity to really continue to appreciate higher, or better yet, even squeeze. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Is there any other squeeze plays that you feel could really move higher? And if so, drop some tickers in the description below. Hopefully everyone's having a kick-ass weekend. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.